Tinsky. I'm the CEO of Parchment. And so thank you for coming to learn a little bit more about us too. Parchment is this is not working? Is a human clicking this or is it? Oh, does this count towards my 7 minutes? Holy, how are you, Doug? You don't miss doing this, do you? So Parchment is a credentials company. So over our life course, we earn all sorts of credentials. We earn academic credentials, degrees, certificates, transcripts. We earn professional credentials, licenses, cosmetology, Toyota mechanic, Java engineer. We learn personal credentials, infant CPR, scuba, whatever those credentials are. These are really valuable data about what people know and how well they know it. And yet fundamentally, credentials don't work very well to do the three things that people want to do with their credentials. So generally, we share our credentials. High school student sends a transcript to college. A college student sends a transcript to an employer. Today, you still fax a request, provide a check. It's an envelope, inside an envelope, inside an envelope. If oxygen touches the innermost layer, the data aren't valid anymore. It's a very antiquated system to share, verify, and generally make those credentials liquid. We can't really analyze our credentials efficiently because usually they're paper-based. So what are my odds of getting into Emory, and how do those odds change if I take a fourth year of band versus the fifth AP course? Those could be derived from our transcripts and our other types of credentials. And it's really hard to promote our credentials. So if we're young, it's one of the first things on our CV. If we're older, it's one of the last. But it usually makes the two-page cut. And I can't find someone who's taken mobile app development in the Southwest because, again, credentials aren't available in the ways that they could be to promote. So we want to change this. This is like a super exciting palette to be able to build Parchment in terms of our vision and what we're doing. But we got to do it with focus. So if you ask me today, what does Parchment do? We are focused on academic credentials, helping individuals share, analyze, and promote them. And we're even more narrowly focused. We're focused on the transcript. We think transcripts are cool. We're going to make transcripts sexy again. Transcripts are data. They're structured. You can go deeper than the degree and see courses and grades in courses. They're more tractable than if you got all the way down to a portfolio or something like that. So we think they're like the perfect. They go deeper than a diploma, but you can still really do some interesting things with them. So what do we do with transcripts? Excuse me. We use this analogy of OpenTable. OpenTable does two things. One is to get rid of the paper-based maitre d' book through building a restaurant reservation network. And we don't appreciate that about OpenTable. And that's what we're doing with Parchment Exchange. We're getting all sorts of high schools and colleges and other kinds of transcript and credential providers to take online requests and fulfill them electronically as data. That's non-trivial. It takes time to build that network. But if we do it, it's a very, very powerful platform. And then we work individually with learners so that if you attend or attended one of those senders on our network, you can request your credential, store it in our credential account as data, and then get access to great apps that take advantage of it. So like OpenTable, we're building a network, and that's probably kind of the long-term value proposition of what we're doing. And we're solving a very powerful problem for them, getting rid of paper. And then we can leverage that network to work directly with the individual. So it's kind of hard to show it because it really is one of those behind-the-scenes systems. But a university, we have Stanford and Michigan and Dartmouth and Cornell and American Public University System and Capella, CEC, all of our senders. And you'd have a white label ordering interface, part of your EDU site, requests come in. Usually it's sort of automated unless there's a hold. The transcript gets taken out of the SAS. It can be an image, it can be data, it goes out to the receiver. It's secure. We actually have patented technologies around really making that transcript very tamper-proof and secure. But there could be an exception, and then you see the request and you upload the transcript and you provide it. So it's all sorts of workflow tools around the sending and receiving of transcripts. We also provide great analytics. So if you're a college collecting transcripts with us, we can show you who your peers are based on overlap in transcript data. And then we could even say, all right, American University, where I went, you're looking to expand in Arizona, which you haven't recruited in. So we'll show you that Georgetown and GW, which are the high schools that are sending them transcripts that you might want to now send out your admissions representatives to. So there's really some great analytics around understanding the cycle, and you could generalize that to employers, although today it's focused on college admissions. And then we have great consumer tools. So if you register on Parchment, order your transcript, you can store it. We'll then show you scatter plots of everyone who's applied to American by GPA and SAT and other data points. We'll give you statistical probabilities. what are your odds of getting into that college, and then give you what if scenarios to improve those odds. We don't want to just tell you your odds and you're a senior and it's sort of like too late. We want to obviously make a difference. And then again, it's the credential account. It's kind of unproven. So will a high school student, and about 80% of them do, who order a transcript, store the transcript, then come back as a college student, then come back as an accountant. We need time to really see whether that plays out, but we think we're in a good position. So now let me describe to you a little bit, not just of what we do, but sort of where we are in the development of what we do. 3 key terms. Our clients are members. They're members of the Parchment Exchange to do electronic transcript exchange. They can be a sender. These are very cleverly labeled. They can be sender, or you could be a receiver, or you could be both. So high schools are senders, colleges are receivers, grad schools are receivers, employers, state licensing boards are receivers. And then on the send side, generally it's free to you as a sender. Your students pay a per transaction fee. So if you order your transcript, there's a $2, $3 kind of fee, and we collect that fee. And then a school can mark it up, and it's an auxiliary revenue source, although you could subscribe to it. And then on the receive side, it's free to receive, otherwise it wouldn't be a very good sending service. But we then have premium tools that we've invested a lot that allow you to go even further than that. So our model is about building a network which gets lots of senders who have serviceable enrollments, current and alumni students, who can then come to Parchment or the white label ordering site and order their transactions. And so we look at how are we doing driving utilization, percent of enrollments that are generating transactions, how much of that are going in-network to our receivers, how many students are ordering through parchment.com and opting into different services. And then the key financial metrics for us is what's our average revenue per transaction, so average revenue per transcript order, and what's our average revenue per user on parchment.com. And that kind of gives you a quick sense. So we've got 7,400 members, 25%, and this is a real number, active in the trailing 12 months, 25% of secondary schools in the country use us to send transcripts electronically. We've got about a third of the colleges who are receiving with us electronically, and then about 300 who are sending, and a real nice diversity of institutions. And we are in a major ramp. So our revenue model is transactionally based, and you can just see the inflection point. Parchment is based on some historic companies and technologies that we've put together. So we have data going back to 2004. And not surprisingly, we are in a secular trend of getting rid of transcripts. This is the growth of paper to electronic in transcripts. And we're doing great on the student registration front. So final stats, we're headquartered here, 115 people. My background very quickly, I started the software company Blackboard with my college roommate, Mike Chasin. I left in 2008 when we were at about 300 million in revenues, growing about 30% a year, and then stayed on the board until the sale to Providence Equity. And we've got a SaaS-type model, recurring revenue, highly predictable, and this year will be primarily a post-secondary company. So with that,